Today, we're going to talk about something that's, well, absolutely critical for any business. We're going to look at how you give the incredible power, the raw muscle of your IT department, a strong guiding skeleton to make it all work.
All right, let's just dive right in with this idea. So many companies have that IT muscle, right? They're using frameworks like ITIL to get really good at their processes. That's the how we do things part. But here's the catch. All that strength is pretty useless, and frankly, can even be kind of dangerous if you don't have that structural skeleton of governance asking the much, much bigger question: what should we even be doing in the first place?
You know, when that skeleton is missing, you basically have a super powerful engine with no one at the steering wheel. And this leads to a whole set of really common and, let's be honest, really painful business headaches that I bet a lot of you are going to recognize immediately. So first up, the most obvious problem. Stuff just breaks. When your IT systems go down, critical business functions, think order processing, customer service, they just grind to a halt. But it's not just about things being unavailable. On the other side, you've got security. Something as simple as a weak password can literally leave the front door wide open for attackers, putting the entire company at huge financial and reputational risk. Then, oh yeah, there's the money pain. I mean, we've all seen this story, haven't we? An IT project that just drags on and on, blows way past its budget, way past its deadline, and in the end doesn't even deliver the value that was promised. And at the same time, that total cost of just keeping the lights on in IT just seems to be climbing and climbing and climbing, feeling totally out of control. And on top of all that, complexity becomes its own kind of monster. I mean, on one hand, you're trying to manage this tangled web of different technologies and outside suppliers. But honestly, what's often worse is that the business folks and the IT folks feel like they're speaking completely different languages. Business is talking about market share, IT is talking about servers. And that gap creates a massive disconnect between what the business actually needs and what IT ends up building. And this slide, with its kind of chaotic feel, it just perfectly captures that final layer of pain. Because while you're trying to juggle all those internal problems, you've also got to deal with this crazy maze of legal rules and compliance standards. Without a clear structure, managers are stuck doing exactly what this looks like, just putting out fires, one after another, in a constant state of reaction. So the big question is, how do we fix all this chaos? Well, the answer is IT governance. And no, it's not about micromanaging, it's about steering the ship, making sure that every single thing IT does is aimed squarely at hitting the company's biggest goals. So what is it, really? IT governance is the formal framework that makes sure IT is doing the right things, not just doing things right. See the difference? It's all about adding real value, getting a handle on risk, and making sure every penny spent on technology is a smart investment. I love this slide because it just boils this whole big idea down to something so simple. If you look at the flow, you see it all comes from the top. At the highest level, the job of the board, of executive leadership, it really comes down to just two fundamental things: to direct and to control. Let's break that down, because it's important. Direct is when leadership sets the course. They're the ones saying, okay, team, this is where we need to go, and here's how we're going to measure success. Control, then, is the all-important feedback loop. It's about monitoring everything that's happening to make sure the organization stays on that course, hits its goals, and reports back on how it's all going. Okay, so to actually put this elegant direct and control idea into practice, organizations all over the world turn to a globally accepted framework called COBIT. That stands for Control Objectives for Information and Related Technologies. So let's peel back the layers and see how COBIT builds this logical, repeatable system. See, it's not just some dusty binder full of rules. It's a really comprehensive model for managing the whole shebang of IT, from end to end, in what it calls a continuous control cycle. And this cycle, it breaks down the entire massive world of IT into 4 really clear areas of responsibility or domains. What this does is it gives everybody in the organization a common map to see how all the different pieces of IT actually fit together. And the logic here, it's just so intuitive. First, you plan and organize your strategy. Simple enough. Then you acquire and implement the solutions you decided you need. Next, you deliver and support those solutions as services to the business. And finally, and this is key, you monitor and evaluate how they're performing, which gives you the feedback you need to start the whole planning cycle over again. But this time, you're a whole lot smarter. But here's the thing.
The real genius of COBIT isn't just about getting IT tasks organized. Nope. Its real power is how it systematically bridges that huge, chronic communication gap between the tech teams and the business leaders. And this right here is the crucial point. COBIT is designed for everybody. This pyramid shows how it has different tools for different people, from high-level summaries for the board all the way down to the nitty-gritty details for the IT pros in the trenches. So everyone gets the info they need, but it's all based on one shared framework. It creates a common language. And when you create that kind of alignment, you get real, tangible benefits. Suddenly, management has a clear, understandable view of what IT is actually doing. Responsibilities become crystal clear. And because it's a global standard, it makes those tricky conversations with auditors, regulators, and business partners so much easier.
Look, this isn't just some theory from a textbook. The data shows that companies are actually doing this, and it's growing. This chart, for instance, shows a really significant jump in the use of COBIT components over just a couple of years. It's a clear trend of more and more companies realizing they need this kind of structural guidance.
Ultimately, putting a framework like COBIT in place is about making a fundamental shift in how you operate. It's about moving from that constant reactive state of chaos to a proactive, strategic state of control. This quote just nails it perfectly. See, COBIT doesn't replace good practices like ITIL. It's the other way around. It acts as the high-level umbrella framework that tells you what to do, what to measure, what to control. And then ITIL provides the muscle for how you get it done. COBIT integrates everything, giving purpose and business alignment to all that technical work.
So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. Every organization knows its IT department has muscle. They can perform tasks, they can run services. The real question you should be asking yourselves is, does it have the skeleton, the governance to make sure all that strength is actually moving the business in the right direction?